Da, 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 do, 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 do. Hello, welcome back. It's Motor Mind. I'm Jonathan. Today we're talking about antifreeze or coolant or whichever you want to call it. Now, I have here a bottle of what we call red Asian, or it looks kind of pinkish red, engine antifreeze, which is for mainly Toyota and Lexus. And here I have RV and marine antifreeze. Now they both say antifreeze here on the bottles, but these are different, and they do not go. They do not have the same applications. So they're simple similarities, but also confusing differences. And so that's what I want to talk about real quick today. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up because I just got done winterizing a boat. If you saw one of my last posts, the boat I delivered out for my customer, I got done using about 4 gallons of this RV antifreeze. Now, we're going to come back to this. We're going to start with this. This is standard engine antifreeze. Now, the difference between actually these two is this is generally about ethylene glycol or some sort of variant, and this is like extra fancy windshield washer fluid. It's mostly alcohol and some water. Now, these have differences in that this RV antifreeze protects against burst protection down to -50, and this has a good, probably negative 50-50 ready to use is good down to about -20 or 25. But you don't use these in the same application. And this is why I want to talk about them because they both say antifreeze. So the first key difference is you never, ever, ever, ever use this in place of this. So you use this when you have an engine that's sealed. So let's say in an RV, we'll say it's a Ford-based RV, an Econoline that you see cruising around all over the place. That would take a Ford variant, which is either green or yellow type antifreeze like this. That's made in the that's supposed to be in the engine. That's supposed to be run in the engine continually, and it's sealed. It's never supposed to be drained unless you're servicing the coolant system. This is when you are winterizing a different part of that same RV. See, when you park the RV for the winter, you can leave the antifreeze. We'll call this coolant and we'll call this antifreeze, even though they both say antifreeze. So this coolant stays in the engine all the time, unless you have a leak or you're servicing the coolant, but it's supposed to stay in just like a regular engine on any other vehicle. Where this gets used is in a scenario where you are draining out and winterizing your clean water tanks, your gray tanks, and your black water tank systems. So sewage, gray water, fresh water. This is what you would pour down the drain or in the toilet of your RV or in your tank, because essentially what this will do is this will mix in with some water. Obviously, you want to get as much water out as you can, but when this mixes with the water, alcohol, as you know, doesn't freeze. And so even when you get down below freezing, this turns into like a slush, but it doesn't actually solidify. And solidifying ice is what causes it to expand. That's when you start having things get broken. So we're going to focus on, just to sum up, that is when we have these, the two. You could theoretically have both of these using the RV. Never run this as in place of this. You always use this in seasonal parts that you don't want freezing or bursting. That doesn't happen when you have regular antifreeze inside your engine and it's sealed. Now, the part that kind of trips people up is the art or the marine side of things. So we're going to put this off to the side. So the reason why you would actually put this in the engine of a boat that you were winterizing is because all boats, unless they have a sealed coolant system, all boats draw water up from the lake or river or ocean and then cycle that water inside the engine, and then that usually gets dispersed out to the exhaust manifold risers and then out. Now, what happens is because you're using lake water, well, that can freeze during the winter. So when you winterize a boat, you drain all the water out of the block. You get water out of all the other parts that, like the supply line from the outdrive unit or however what style boat you have, and then you fill this type of antifreeze in the dead spaces. And that what this does is it helps any little remaining bits of water in the block. This will mix with that water and keep it from freezing solid. So I know it's a little confusing, but that's how you need to know the difference between these two. I know they both say antifreeze, but this is meant to be used in an engine that's sealed, that runs all the time, that you can just let sit whenever or use whenever, just like a car, truck, or whatnot. This is what you use when you are draining water or things that can freeze out and are putting this in its place so any remaining water left in the system doesn't freeze and burst something. So again, please know the difference. Please pay attention. Um, this is not something that you run in an engine. Now, back to the quick thing about the boat. Uh, Albeit that there's antifreeze all inside the boat motor while it's sitting. As soon as that I go to de-winterize that boat, I'll hook up a water source, what they call water muffs. They kind of go around the outdrive unit and they help push water. They kind of simulate being in the water, and use a garden hose. Well, as soon as I start the engine, the fresh water is going to go in and it's going to flush out all this stuff. And the difference is here, this is safe to run out in your gutter. This is not. This is hazardous. Okay, you can't just dump this out anywhere you want. This is acceptable to be, get flushed out of the motor when it's time to de-winterize. So hope that was a good tip for you. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to message me direct or leave a comment down below, and hopefully I'll see you, and we'll see you on the next video.